where we have to start. When we are checking documents, you can see the presentation.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. When you are checking document as a doc checker, you will come across certain documents with mathematical calculations, right? Mathematical calculations. Now, mathematical calculations, this covers A22, para A22. Can you turn to para A22? A22 says, when the presented documents indicate mathematical calculations, banks only determine that the stated total in respect of criteria such as amount, quantity, and weight or number of packages does not conflict with the credit or any other stipulated document. Right? So that shows mathematical calculations in a document require examinations to verify that the stated total in respect of criteria such as amount, quantity, weight, or number of packages does not conflict with the credit, and the second one, any other stipulated documents. For example, in addition to the document itself. In other words, or before I ask that question, in other words, what do you think about this? As the doc checkers, do we have to check the mathematical calculations when we get a document to check, when we are checking documents? Right? Are we to check the mathematical calculations of the document? Yes or no? Is the document checker is responsible for checking that, verifying the accuracy of the mathematical document, mathematical calculations? No. As per the Article 22, it states that a document checker is not responsible for verifying the accuracy of any mathematical calculations. Right? They are not responsible for verifying the mathematical calculations. Evidence by the document, but will rely solely on the total shown as being produced from the outcome of such calculations. Now, in other words, what they say is, we don't have to go through the nitty-gritty things of the mathematical calculations, but the final total, what they have mentioned, final total that they have mentioned, should tally with the uh, documentary credit as well as the other documents. For example, amount, the weight, or number of packages. You have to make sure that those things does not conflict with the credit or the other documents, right? Other than that, I have seen because how many doc checkers have worked for me. I have seen people are keeping the scientific calculators, and uh, they are checking the mathematical calculations of the documents. No need. Right? Only the totals we have to be concerned. Now, for example, this one, spend about 1 minute or 2 minutes to digest what is there. The document credit says description of goods and of services, assorted sweets, 2,685 cartons for US dollars 57,55383, 165 boxes for US dollars, blah blah. Right? Make part of the amount take a kilo. Right? When the presented document indicates, mathematical calculations, banks only determine that the stated total, in respect of criteria such as amount, quantity, weight, or number of packages does not conflict with the credit or any other stipulated documents. Right? Now here LC says 57,553.83 US dollars. It is there. Right? Then 165 boxes. We'll have to check only those things only. Right? දැන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ බලන්න ඇති මෙතන තව එකක් තියෙනව නේද? 33,485. That's another set of documents for that one, 33. But for 57,883, it is 165 boxes. Right? ඔය විදිහට යන්තම් තිබුණාම ඇති අපි ඉතින් එහාට in detail calculate කර මේකෙන් මේකට කීයද කියලා per box කීයද ඒව calculations you don't have to check. Right? Then the other one, data contained in a stipulated document must not conflict with the non-documentary conditions. Must not conflict with the non-documentary conditions. For example, the document required under 46A is commercial invoice. And inspection certificate issued by the trust inspection company evidencing that ash is commercially free. Bill of lading issued to order of the issuing bank marked trade prepaid. Sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags. Right? Now, data contained in a stipulated document must not conflict with a non-documentary condition. Now, what is a non-documentary condition we are having here?
Sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags.
Sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags. That is a non-documentary condition. A non-documentary in the sense we are not asking any documentary evidence for that. Right? In the inspection certificate, apart from all the things what we have asked, this is sulfur in bulk. So, do we quote it as a discrepancy or not? This is A26. When a credit contains a condition without stipulating a document to indicate compliance therewith, there is a non-documentary condition. Compliance with such condition need not be evidence on any stipulated document. However, data contained in a stipulated document are not to be in conflict with the non-documentary condition. Non-documentary condition. For example, when a credit indicates packing in wooden cases, without indicating that such data is to be appear on any stipulated document, a statement in any stipulated document indicating a different type of packing is considered to be a conflict of data. Right? Here, this is sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags. So to make a kuhiwat kila the bags ගැන කතා කරලා තියෙනවද මේකේ? නෑ. But they are only in both ones. As per the LC, it is sulfur. But it has to be packed in jumbo bags. Here, it's also sulfur, but in bulk. So is it compliant document or not? Is it a compliant document or not?
Discrepant.
It is discrepant. Why? Why?
In inspection certificate, they should indicate as it means they should mention packed in jumbo bags.
Packed in jumbo. Inspection certificate, have they mentioned? No. Inspection certificate is there. You can see that inspection certificate. What is they are focusing on inspection certificate? Read the LC condition under 46A. Inspection certificate issued by the trust inspection company, evidencing that ash is commercially free. Ash is commercially free. Is it mentioned there in the inspection certificate? That's as per the LC. That is what we have to bother. Ash is commercially free. Is it mentioned in the inspection certificate?
Yes.
Yes, it is mentioned. It is mentioned. On top of that, there is a non-documentary condition, sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags. Right? Now, can you go back to Article 14 of UCP 600? Article 14 of UCP 600. What it says regarding the non-documentary conditions. Article 14. Article 14H. It says, if a credit contains a condition without stipulating the document to indicate compliance with the condition, banks will deem such conditions as not stated and will disregard it. So what do you think about this then? Is it a discrepancy or not? Is there a discrepancy or not? Now you have the right to change your previous answer. How you are maintaining that?
It's compliance, no?
Huh? It is not compliant? Oh,
No, it's compliance, no?
yeah, it is compliant. It's compliance. Compliance in the sense, it's a non-documented conditions. The banks will ignore it. But as you said, my dear, a lot of bankers, when they are doc checkers, when they are checking these documents, they quote these things and reject the document. Then you will be at the receiving end. If a good party at the other end, they will quote it and they will come back to you. They will quote the article 14H, UCP 600, and they will say this is a non-documentary condition. So therefore, the banks have to they don't have to worry about those conditions, right? They just ignore it. So you can't quote it as a discrepancy. Any more questions? I know some must be having some issues.
Yes, sir. One more question, sir. Now,
Yeah.
if this condition is LC says this condition to be included in the inspection certificate, then it is going to be a discrepancy, no, sir? Here, what you are saying is here they have not mentioned any document to be document that this particular phrase to be included, no?
Okay.
Now, if they say this sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags, it should include in you say packing list or in the commercial invoice. Then we have to adhere to that, no?
Yes.
That's yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because even the commercially free ash is commercially free. The same thing, no? See, inspection certificate issued by the trust inspection company, evidencing that ash is commercially free. Evidencing that, right? Here, this is issued by a trust inspection company. They say ash is commercially free. When a certificate they want it has to be mentioned on the inspection certificate. Yes, they have mentioned. If they have not mentioned that, then it will be a discrepancy. Like you said, the same thing happens here. If they say sulfur to be packed in jumbo bags, evidencing sulfur is packed in jumbo bags. Evidencing sulfur is packed in jumbo bags. Then if you say the sulfur in bulk, then it will be a discrepancy. But as it is, it is a non-documentary condition. Non-documentary condition. Right? Okay. Originals and copies. Originals and copies. Now, documents required under 46A, 2/3 original bill of lading issued to order of issuing bank and evidencing freight prepaid. 2/3 original bill of lading issued to order of the issuing bank and evidencing freight prepaid. When a credit requires a presentation of less than a full set of original transport documents, but does not provide any disposal instructions for the remaining originals, the presentation may include the full set. When it comes to, unlike invoices and all that, right? Here, original BL, when the LC says 2/3 original bill of lading issued, right? But does not provide any disposal instruction for the remaining original. Requires presentation of less than a full set of original transport document. Normally, we have 3 out of 3. 3 out of 3 original. Here, this is only 2/3 original. Only 2/3 original. Then what happened to the balance one? What happened to the balance one? But does not provide any disposal instructions for the remaining original. The presentation may include the full set. Okay, මෙතන දාලා නැහැනේ. එතන තියෙන්නේ 2/3 original bill of lading issued to order. Right? 2/3 original bill of lading. Now, the documents required දාලා තිබුණා නම් full set of original BL, right? And they have submitted only 2 originals, then it will be a discrepancy, right? Then article number para 29, para 29C. Shall we read that? When a credit requires presentation of less than a full set of original transport document, for example, a 2/3 original bill of lading, but does not provide any disposal instructions for the remaining original bill of lading, the presentation may include 3 out of 3 original bill of lading. That is a full set of original BL. Under originals and copies, A27, 28, 29, all are very important. Right? Right. Title of documents and combined documents. Title of documents and combined documents. This is A39. A39. A39, 40 and 41. All three. A39, title of documents and combined documents. A39, A40, A41. In a nutshell, right? This relates to the title of documents and the situation if combined documents are presented or required. Documents required in the credit are to be presented as separate documents. However, for example, a requirement for one packing list, one wait list. One packing list, one wait list will also be satisfied by presentation of 2 originals of a combined documents. Example, weight and packing list. Weight and packing list. මේගොල්ලෝ දීලා තියෙනවා one packing list, one wait list. So can't we issue one for both? We can. Right? We can issue a combined document, combined document, right? But it has to be in 2 originals, because in the LC they are asking packing list, and also another place they are asking a wait list, right? Therapy will also satisfied by presentation of two originals of combining documents, wait list and packing list. We can merge together, right? But you have to give two originals. Then one will cover the packing list requirement, the other one will cover the wait list requirement. But you have to have two originals. Right. Title of documents and combined documents. This is para 41. A required document that covers more than one function may also be satisfied by presentation of a separate document that appear to fulfill each function. For example, a requirement for packing and wait list. The kind of packing and wait list will also be satisfied by presentation of a function fulfilling separate packing list and separate function fulfilling wait list that are presented in the required number of originals and copies. LC कहते हैं requirement for packing and wait list. उधर मेरे के मेरे में दुलाटा किसी प्रश्न है नहीं, right? Okay. And para 41. Para 41. Dulu baru. Okay. අපි දැන් කීපයක් කළා. This one, a draft is to be drawn by the beneficiary. On the bank stated in the credit and for the amount and currency demanded. It is to be endorsed if necessary. B14, para B14. When the amount in words and figures are in conflict, the amount in words is to be examined as the amount demanded, right? If the document is a draft, then the signature is required, date is required, right? When the tenor refers to XX days after the BL date, the onboard date, for example, shipment date, is deemed to be the BL date, right? The BL can be dated on 15th, but the onboard notation says we have loaded the goods onto the ship on 16th October, right? So when the tenor refers to XX days after the BL date, the onboard date, then we have to take the onboard date. For example, shipment date is deemed to be the BL date. Right? When a credit indicates the drawee of draft by only stating the SWIFT address of a bank, the draft may show the drawee with the same details of the full name of the bank. What is it? Okay, B14. B14. Do you want to B14? B14 The amount in words is to accurately reflect the amount in words when both are shown and indicate the currency as stated in the credit. When the amount in words and figures are in conflict, the amount in words is to be examined as the amount expenditure. Right? Right? Okay. Any questions? Any differences between from and after when relating to determination of maturity date? Right? Make the article here then UCP. Make article here then UCP.
Article 3.
Article 3. Article 3 make it under interpretations. Under interpretations, it says make a lazy the expressions on or about from the words from and after, when used to determine the maturity date, exclude the date mentioned. Right? Now here, 30 days from shipment date. 30 days from shipment date. So that means shipment date is what? If we say shipment date is 1st May, if the shipment date is 1st May,
31st
then the
May.
maturity date is 31st May. 1st May plus 30. Include. If it is 30 days after shipment date, that's also same. That's also same. So it's the same meaning. From or after. From or after. Right? Right. This one. මේක පොඩ්ඩක් බලන්න කියන්නේ B2E para B2E 1 B2E 1, right? When a credit requires drafts to be drawn at XX days after shipment, and a BL is presented, evidencing transshipment of the goods from one vessel to another and showing more than one shipment dates from the allowed ports, which of the dates is to be used for the calculation of the maturity date? The මෙතන බලන්න මේ BL එකේ ocean vessel Vinat voyage V25E port of discharge Bridgeport. Okay. The onboard MV Vinat at Dubai port on 18th September 2013. Then transshipped on board MV Best at Sharjah port on 20th September 2013. Right? Okay. Transshipment allowed. Transshipment allowed. So therefore, for calculation of the calculation purpose, what is the date we are going to take? Which of the dates is to be used for the calculation of the maturity date? We'll have to take the earliest date. We have to take the earliest date. Right? The make it the earliest date take out then.
18th September.
18th September, earliest. Right? Okay, good. When a credit requires drafts to be drawn at XX days after shipment, and a BL is presenting evidencing shipment on the same vessel from more than one allowed ports, and showing more than one shipment. Can burn. Is it the same vessel or different vessels? මේ තමයි ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ doc checking වලදී එනේවා.
Same vessel.
Same vessel. If it is the same vessel, MV Vinat, they are collecting the goods from Dubai port and then they sail to Sharjah, same vessel. They collect Sharjah one. Right? එහෙමනම් ගන්න අපි, if it is the same vessel, we take the latest. එතකොට අපි මාකට් එකේ එක ගන්න. ඒක ගන්නේ latest එක ගන්න.
ආපහු ඒක චුට්ටක් කියන්නකෝ සර් තේරුණා.
ඒක තේරුන්නේ නැහැ. මේක එනවා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ඩොක් චෙකින් වලදී ඔයගොල්ලන්ට එන්නේ මේකක්. අපි ඉස්සරහකට ඉගල බලමු. මේකේ MV Vinat, right? MV Vinat is collecting goods from the original one right, from Dubai port, right, and then they will sail to Breeze port. They collect MV Vinod, they collect goods from Dubai port on the 18th September. Then they sail to Sharjah. Sharjah වලට යම ඒගොල්ලෝ transshipment එකක් තියෙනවා. දැන් අතර MV Vinod නෙමෙයි යන්නේ. Then
MV best no.
MV best. එතකොට එන්නේ වෙන එකක්. MV best එකට යන්නේ. So there are two, and a transshipment is allowed. So there are two vessels. In a scenario like that, we take the earliest one, because the entire shipment has been collected from that day, 18th, right? But when it comes to the same thing, but සාජවලදී transshipment එකේදී drop කරනවාද ගන්නවාද ඔක්කොම එන්නේ same vessel එකට 18th වලින් එහෙන් පැටවුවා ඊගාට සාජවලට ආවා සාජවලින් 20th වලට ගත්තා අරගෙන එනවා same vessel එක. එහෙනම් අපි ගන්නේ final එක. The second vessel. Second is the final one. මේක මේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේ presentations එක මම දීලා තියෙනවා. මුදලට බලන්න. මුදල බැලුවම පාඩම් කරන තර්ක කර කර. ඒතර මේක මුදලට මතකයි. මුදලට මතකයි. Right? Okay.
So that means latest date.
Excuse me, sir.
Latest date. If it is the same ship,
Yeah.
if it is same ship, latest date.
All right.
Yeah, two different ships, the earliest. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. When a credit requires drafts to be drawn at XX days after shipment and more than one set of BL is presented under one draft. More than one set of BL is presented under one draft. The shipment date of the latest BL will be used for the calculation of the maturity date. Right? When a credit requires drafts to be drawn in XX days after shipment and more than one set of BL is presented under one draft. Right? එතකොට අපි මොනවද ගන්නෙ?
Latest date.
Latest date එක. දැන් මේකේ එන්නේ freight prepaid on board 18 September VMX. Right? The second one, freight prepaid on board 21st September 2013, fast lane. Right? එතකොට අපි ගන්නේ the latest one. Because two different LCs. Now we'll see the maturity calculations. This is a summary. One BL evidencing transshipment from vessel to another from allowed, then one shipment date from allowed ports. From allowed, and then one shipment date from allowed ports. Maturity calculation, the earliest shipment date. if it is two different shipments, shipping lines. One BL showing more than one shipment dates from allowed ports, then it is latest shipment date. Then two or more BL showing more than one shipment date presented under one draft claim the latest shipment date. Right? This is a summary. If a document are received by the drawee, මේ LC කියවන්න බලන්න හොඳට. LC එක හොඳට කියවන්න. 51A 41A කොහොමද? Applicant bank, bank A. Available with bank B by negotiation. Drafts at 60 days site. Drawee, bank A. Right? If documents are received by the drawee bank A on 1st May 2013, which completed its examination on 4th May 2013. How many days we have to complete the examination?
5 working days.
5 working days. Banking days. And documents either comply or not rejected, then the maturity date shall be 5 working days. 1st May 2013 plus 60 days site. Right? January ඉවරකලා 6 days දැම්මන first May වලින් May 31st June 30th June 2013. Right? ඒක එන්නේ first May වලට add වෙන්න ඕන අර drafts at 60 days site කෙනෙක් 60 days. Right? මේකේ එන්නේ article B5, sorry, para B5, maturity dates, right? Jot down කරගන්න පස්සේ කියවන්න. Secondly, B, if documents are rejected by the drawee bank, right? Drawee bank, first they rejected the documents. Then the drawee bank subsequently provided its approval. The maturity date will be at XX days after the acceptance date by the drawee bank. මේක ඇහුවා කවුද කියලා මේ ප්‍රශ්නය. මට මතක නැහැ කවුරු එක්කෙනෙක් කවුව මේ ප්‍රශ්නේ. අද. Right? How to calculate the maturity date on this one. If they are rejected and then subsequently they corrected it and now they want to show that. Okay. Make you all about example Ugama Kerlaban. ISBP, there's no point of me talking. I'll put the slide. You just go through it and do the calculation and see whether it's correct. Right? If documents are received by the drawing bank A on 1st May 2013 and they reject the documents, so they have submitted the documents, the beneficiary has submitted the document on 1st May 2013, which rejected the documents on 5th May 2013, but later, because they have taken 5 banking days to check the documents, and after that, they have rejected it on 5th May. And then later, on 9th May, these people have resubmitted the documents, and then it was approved on 9th May. Right? Then, in a scenario like that, for the purpose of calculating the maturity date, we have to calculate not from 1st May, it has to be from 9th May. But the 1st May is a compliant document. You can get back. Right? Hari documents to submit kalla approve 9th May. So from 9th May, we have to add 60 days site. 9th May or 60 days, the mama 8th July. Right? Make a what is the maturity date? Roundabout. This is like document checking. Right? Applicant bank A, available with bank B by negotiation, drafts 60 days site, right? drawee bank is B. If compliant documents are received by Bank B on 25th April, then we'll have to say then by Bank A on 1st May 2013. There, the drawee bank has received the documents on 25th April. And after that, they have submitted the documents to the Bank A. Bank A is the issuing bank. Bank A is the issuing bank on 1st May. When we are calculating the maturity date, it says available with Bank B by negotiation. Available with Bank B by negotiation. And the drawee bank is drawee Bank B. So, so they have received it on 25th April. So we'll have to calculate the maturity from Bank B has received the documents, not the A. A is the issuing bank. A what how many first May? So we'll have to calculate from 25th April plus 60. That is 24th June 2013. Right? Okay. Study this to get a summary of what we have learned all this time, right? Presentation of documents with maturity XX days after sight. If it is a compliant presentation, the maturity date will be XX days after the day of presentation to the bank on which the draft is drawn. Right? And if it is a non-compliant presentation, proper notice of refusal is not given. If proper notice of refusal is not given, or proper notice of refusal is given. Proper notice of refusal is given. If it is not given, then comes notice by the issuing bank. No, by other banks, maturity will be at the latest XX days from date of the acceptance advice of the issuing bank. Or if it is yes, maturity date will be at the latest XX days from date of the acceptance by the applicant. Right? These are only a summary. Don't worry about these things, right? Gradually, when we are checking documents, we can learn a lot of things practically, right? Then when the beneficiary or second beneficiary has changed its name and the credit mentions the former name, a draft and invoice may be drawn in the name of the new entity. When the beneficiary or second beneficiary has changed its name, and the credit mention the former name, right? A draft and invoice may be drawn in the name of the new entity, provided that it indicates formally known as name of the beneficiary or second beneficiary or words of similar effect. right? Make up make up a risky development. It's a very risky development. Two legal entities. I don't entertain this risky development, even though they have accepted, because when the names are different, it can be two different legal entities. C2B. When the beneficiary or second beneficiary has changed its name and the credit mentioned the former name, an invoice may be issued in the name of the new entity, provided that it indicates formerly known as name of the beneficiary or the second beneficiary or words of similar effect. Right? And having said that, it's a risky development, because for me, it's two different legal entities. Right. Now we'll go for the final part. Invoices. Now we are going to discuss with invoices. C1, para C1. Yeah, again. Definition of invoice is found in ISBP para C1. According to para C1, it says the title of invoice. When a credit requires a presentation of an invoice without further description, this will be satisfied by the presentation of any type of invoice: commercial invoice, custom invoice, tax invoice, final invoice, concealed invoice, etc. However, an invoice is to be identified as a provisional or pro forma or the like. Right? When a C1B, it says, when a credit requires presentation of a commercial invoice, this will also be satisfied by the presentation of a document titled invoice, even when such document contains a statement that it has been issued for tax purpose. Right? Okay. Commercial invoice. An LC requiring an invoice without further definition will be satisfied by any type of invoices presented, such as commercial, it can be any type of invoices presented, such as commercial invoice, tax invoices, final invoices. It must not be identified as provisional, pro forma, or the like. I can remember we came across a similar thing in the UCP 600 also. Can somebody tell me what is the article? UCP 600 also we had seen a similar thing. You can remember we discussed a similar thing. What then? Article here. Article here. Article 3. Right? Article 3 ke mekama tino. Spend about 1 minute on this one and try to understand. Normally, an invoice has to be issued by whom? Invoice has to be issued by whom? An invoice has to be issued by whom?
Beneficiary.
Beneficiary. Right? Or the second beneficiary, but in a transferable LC, even the second beneficiary will issue the LC invoice, but that invoice will be replaced by the first beneficiary. Right? Okay, that appears to have been issued by the beneficiary. Made out in the name of the applicant or first beneficiary. UCP 600 sub-article 18A2. Then description is to be correspond to LCs. Right? Description of goods as per the LCs. No requirement for mirror image. No requirement for mirror image. LC description is black color, Hancock brand. Right there. To indicate the value and the currency and the unit price, if any, as well as trade term and its sources when stated as part of the goods description. All those things should be there. Right? Then the Incoterm, relevant Incoterm. Okay. Must no indicate an overshipment except as provided in UCP 600 sub-article 30B. That is tolerance. 5%. Right? That's a different thing. The word correspond indicates that, according to the ICC opinion, we always say correspond with the other document. Word correspond means the goods description in the commercial invoice and in the LC must be in harmony with each other. In harmony with each other. You don't have to have a mirror image, but it has to be in harmony with each other. Right? හැම එකක්ම එකටම එකක් mirror image ඕනේ නැහැ. But it has to be in harmony with the great guys. Example, MT700 issue of a documentary credit. MT700 issue of a documentary credit. 45A description of goods and or services. Bright yellow sulfur in bulk. Bright yellow sulfur in bulk. Right? Then මේක අපි බලන්න මේ description එක. There are 3 important items which are to identify. One is the goods is sulfur. Number 1, the goods is sulfur. And which color? Bright yellow color. Bright yellow color, sulfur in bulk. In bulk. Right? මේ categories 3කට එන්න ඕන. Right? Now this one, 1, 2, 3. මෙතන තිබ්බනේ. Description of goods and or services. Right? මෙලුවනේ bright yellow sulfur in bulk. දැන් බලන්න මේකේ. දැන් මේක බලන්න කොහෙද තියෙන කියලා. $10,000 metric tons sulfur. Sulfur is there. Right? 10,000 metric ton sulfur. Sulfur purity on dry basis 99.95% as per sales contract, blah blah blah. Quality and packing, color bright yellow. Color bright yellow. Packing in bulk. ඒක තමයි මෙතන 1, 2, 3 අපි දාලා තියෙන්නේ. Right, this one. මේක හරියද? අපි LC එක කියලා දුන්නේ කීයද? 10,000 sulfur. Right? $10,000 sulfur. අපි අරක දාලා තියෙන කීයද? 10,075. Is it all right? 10,000, yeah, with the 10,075. මේක තියෙනවා දැන් මම උගල ඉවර නම් කියන්න මට මේක තේරුණාද 10,000 LC එකේ තිබ්බට 10,075 we accept. How? As per the article 30 it says 5% tolerance is allowable. Right? 10,000 metric tons වලින් 5% කියන්නේ ඔය ගානේ නෝ. Right? The LC amount එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ. LC amount එක change වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක order වුණොත් then it will be a discrepancy. The quantity within 5% upper plus or minus is acceptable. Right? Okay. Let's go through this one. the entire goods description as stated by the LC, right? 5,000 kilograms frozen tilapia fish, 10,000 pieces frozen chicken quarters. And then stating what has actually been shipped is acceptable. Invoicing for 4,000 kilograms frozen tilapia fish. So all these difficult areas, examples in පුළුවන් තරම් ඔයාලට explain කරලා කියනවා. Right? Okay. This one, according to the LC, it says description of goods and or services, 300 men suits, 3,000 men suits. On the 46A, documents required, commercial invoicing, one original, and blah, blah, blah. Right? Make a description of goods within 1,000 men suits. And the LC says, right? You're not responding now. I'm just giving you examples for you to digest. Not qualified. ඒක මොකක්ද තියෙන්නේ? LC එකේ කියලා තියෙනවද free of charge එක? LC එකේ free of charge එක කියලා තියෙනවද?
No.
No. And they have not asked for it. They have not asked for it. Right. Read this one. ICC opinion. And then read para C5. Kila bang? It's a discrepancy. C5.
Yes, it's discrepant.
C5 says an invoice showing a description of goods, services, or performance that correspond with that in the credit may also indicate additional data in respect of the goods, services, or performance, provided that they do not appear to refer to a different nature, classification, or category of the goods, services, or performance. For example, when a credit requires a shipment of suede shoes, but the invoice describes the goods as limitation suede shoes, right? Or when the credit requires hydraulic drilling rig, hydraulic drilling rig, hydraulic drilling rig, but the invoice described the goods as second-hand hydraulic drilling rig. These documents, this description would represent a change in nature, a classification, or category of the goods, right? So, for example, it is discrepant when a credit requires shipment of a drilling rig, whereas the invoice described in the goods as second-hand drilling rigs. Illana තියෙන්නේ drilling rigs. But what we have supplied is second-hand drilling rigs. So it's a discrepant. Transport document. Transport document. Yeah, okay. We'll take a small break of 10 minutes and then continue with the transport documents, right? When the maker of take up one a bit 10 minutes up in autumn, right? 2:45 will sharp 2:45 will start, and please go through this one. Transport documents in a UCP 600, it covers from Article 19 to 25, right? Then bill of lading, application of Article 20 of UCP 600, right? A requirement in a credit for the presentation of a transport document, however named, only covering a port-to-port shipment, means that UCP 600 Article 20 is to be applied in the examination of that document. It says, however named, only covering a port-to-port shipment. When it comes to port-to-port shipment, that is, we have to take it as a port-to-port shipment, Article 20, Marine Bill of Lading, right? So we'll have to check it as per Article 20. This is para D3B. Can you please read this? Para D3B, transport documents. Transport documents covering at least two different modes of the D3B. When credit indicates freight forwarders multimodal transport document is acceptable, or house multimodal transport document is acceptable, or words of similar effect, A multimodal transport document may be signed by the issuing entity without it being necessary to indicate the capacity in which has been signed or the name of the carrier. Now this one, place of taken in charge and dispatch from place of receipt under field 44A. 44E says port of loading, port go seaport, port of discharge, under field 44F, Bridgeport seaport, right? So the shipment will come from port go to Bridgeport, place of final destination. If there's anything, then we'll have to say under 44B. Now this one. It's always easy to understand with an example. However named, it is not the criteria, right? Goods description may be in general terms, not in conflict with that of the LC, right? It should be in general terms. Can you remember? We said toy guns. Toy guns. If you mention toys, it's acceptable, right? Not to bear an express or affirmative clause declaring a defective condition of the goods or their packaging. That's, if there are oil barrels are leaking and something, right, then it is not a clean. It is not a clean document. But the clean word is not necessary. Clean word is not necessary. Only thing, there shouldn't be any defective conditions clauses. That's what we need. When we have asked for clean bill of lading, when the clean name is not there, it is not a discrepancy. Right? It is not a discrepancy. Not to contain any indication of a charter party. When we have requested for a marine bill of lading, and if it is named as charter party, then it's a different thing, right? Then BL to be indicate the number of originals issued. Number of originals issued. Then all to be presented. Now here, how many originals have been issued in this example? How many originals have been issued?
One, sir.
Only one. Only one. Only one. Then they have to submit only the one original. Right? To indicate the name of the carrier, so identified. Right? And to indicate the port of loading and discharging. Eva Tindona may be like to indicate the name of the carrier. DMX as agent for the carrier. As agent for the carrier. Carrier is fast lane containers. Fast lane containers. Fast lane or fast lane containers. right? That's a carrier. But this has been issued by DMS as agent. Perfectly all right. Right? When a credit states freight forward BL acceptable or house BL is acceptable, a BL may be signed by the issuing entity without it being necessary to indicate the capacity in which it has been signed or the name of the carrier. Right? When the credit says freight forwarders BL acceptable and a house BL is acceptable, then a BL may be signed by the issuing entity without it being necessary to indicate the capacity in which it has been signed or the name of the carrier. But when a credit states freight forwarders BL not acceptable, freight forwarders BL not acceptable, or house BL is not acceptable, house BL is not acceptable, I want to do a change. Freight forwarder BL. Freight forwarder BL not acceptable or house BL not acceptable. The wording has no effect, will be disregarded unless the credit provides detailing how the BL is to be issued and signed. Nikamma kila both LC says freight forwarder BL not acceptable or house BL is not acceptable. These wordings has no effect. So therefore it will be disregarded. Right? This one, when an agent signs a BL or on behalf of the carrier, the agent is to be named. The agent is to be named. They make it Lena Shipping. Lena Shipping as agent for Fastlane, the carrier. As agent for Fastlane, the carrier. Right? In acceptance, this bill of lading, the merchant agrees to the conditions on the face and back of the LCK carrier. BLK carrier. Now, this has been signed by the agent, Lena Shipping. They are the agent for Fastlane, the carrier. Right? So you have to name the agent. Agent has to be named and indicate that it is signing as agent or on behalf of the carrier. Then we have to mention the signing capacity. The signing capacity is signing as the agent. Signing capacity is signing as the agent or on behalf of the carrier. Who is the carrier? Fastlane. Agent for Fastlane, the carrier. We'll have to mention the capacity. Same as UCP 600. When the master or the captain signs a BL, the signature of the master, the captain, is to be identified as the master. The name of the master need not be stated, but they have to be identified as the master. Right? Make a example again. Below that, you get that example. Place and date of issue, Kuwait, 22nd September 2013. The signature, the master. Right? Then, if master is signing, then no need to say master for the carrier or blah blah. Lena shipping your own name. Right? When an agent signs a BL, or on behalf of the master, right? Then the agent is to be named, indicating signing capacity. The name of the master need not be stated. The name of the master need not be stated. Right? Now here, the agent is signing for the master. Right? Lena Shipping as agent for the master. Lena Shipping as agent for the master. Lena Shipping is the agent. Lena Shipping and the signing capacity as agent for the master. Right? Okay. We have any E5, E6 transport documents here. A BL pre-printed receive for shipment. A BL pre-printed receive for shipment requires a dated on-board notation, which will be deemed the date of shipment. Right? A BL pre-printed receive for shipment. Let's see on-board MV Vinod at Shanghai on 23rd September 13, DMX. On top of that, it says received for shipment in good order and condition. Now make a date take cover there. This was issued on 22nd September 2013. 22nd September 2013. Received for shipment. But the actual shipment date, what is the actual shipment date? Even though the BL says receive for shipment in good order on 22nd September. But what is the actual shipment date? For our calculations, we have to take the actual shipment date. What is the actual shipment date we check?
23rd September.
23rd September. Because that's a on-board date. On-board date. ඒක තමයි අපි ගන්නේ actual shipment date එකට. Right? Now this one, unlike a receipt for shipment BL, when a pre-printed shipped on board, make a receipt for shipment make it shipped at the port of loading in an apparent good order and condition on board the vessel. And when was it done? On 22nd September. The BL was issued on 22nd September. Right? However, if it bears a dated onboard notation, the notation date will be deemed to be the shipment date, not the 22nd September. Then the actual date will be the date of onboard date. What is onboard date? Yeah, in this one.
21st September.
21st September. On board date is 21st September. It's immaterial whether it's the date is before or after the BL issuance date. BL issuance date is 22nd, but the actual shipment date is 1 day prior to that, 21st. Right? So it is immaterial whether it's before or after. But we take the actual shipment date as 21st. Right? It's there now, the I think it's more one. Right. Then this one, E6. E6. A BL indicating more than one loading port is to evidence an onboard notation with the relevant onboard date for each port, regardless of whether it is pre-printed, received for shipment or shipped on board. My transport documents ටිකේ මේ ටික හරි important නා. උගලන්ට ගොඩාක් ඩොක්චිකස්ලට අපි දෙන questions එකක් මේක එනවා. හැබැයි ඊට වැඩිය පාක් important උගලන්ට documents, you will come across these things. Right? In this one, a BL indicating more than one loading port. Right? One loading port. We have shipped on board MV Vinod at Dubai on 18th September. 18th September. Then again, the same vessel on board MV Vinod at Sharjah on 20th September. Right? So in this one, what is the date of shipment? What is the date of shipment you take for your calculations and checking? There are two shipment dates. What is the date of shipment you take for your calculations?
Earliest shipment day, 18th.
18. Who gave that answer? Who gave that answer? Who gave that answer? Can I buy it again?
Shanita, sir.
Shanika. Shanika, හොඳයි. අඩු ගන්න කතා කරනවා. හරි වැරදි වෙනම දෙයක්. The most important thing is you express your voice. Right? Exceptional cases. Is it correct, Shanika? We studied this. We studied this earlier.
If the transshipment is on the same vessel, we take the earliest date as the shipment date, no, sir?
You're asking me?
That's how I got it.
This could
Yeah.
20th September, no?
Yeah.
Same vessel, MV Vinod.
Yeah. If it is the same vessel, if you are picking up one shipment, this is not a transshipment. Huh? This is not a transshipment. We are picking one load from Dubai. And Sharjah port is about 25 kilometers from Dubai. Dubai ge katti danno. Right? From Dubai port, you just sail it 1 hour with a sail karnota Sharjah port again. Right? Sharjah වලින් ice තව බොට්ටියක් පටව ගත්තා. Then the onboard date for calculation or the shipment date should be the earliest, latest. It should be the latest. If it is the same ship. If it is two ships, transshipment, then Shanika, you are correct. Then earliest transshipment. Here we are not talking about whether transshipment or not, but there are two cargoes are loading to the same ship under the same BL. Right? Same BL in the sense consignee is the same. Consignee එක lot එකක් තිබුණා ඩුබායි වල ඒ ටික දාගත්තා. ඒක ආපහු charger ටිකක් ඩුබායි වලට ගෙනල්ලා පටවන්නත් තිබුණා. ඕවර්ලෑන්ඩ් ගෙනල්ලා එහෙම ඕනේ නැහැ. ship එකේ දෙන්න කියලා ඒකත් පටව ගත්තා. Right? It should be the latest. Shanika, is it clear now?
Got it, sir. Yes, clear.
Yeah. I'm sure when you are checking documents, these things will happen. Right? The name port of loading, as required by the credit, should appear in port of loading. On a maker, it's like a E6, para E6. Read, please. Para E6. The other one, the named port of loading, as required by the credit, should appear in port of loading field. However, it may also be stated in the field place of receipt provided. Right? Make it place of receipt, Hong Kong. Place of receipt, Hong Kong. Right? Port of loading, Dalane. Port of loading, Dalane. About me, the same meaning, port of loading and place of receipt on board MV Rihal at Hong Kong port on 1st September 13th. PMX, right, as agent. Right? So then we take the onboard date as the 1st September, but place of receipt, it should be appear in port of loading field, right? However, it may also be stated in the field place of receipt provided, right?
Sir, just to disturb you.
Whenever a BL indicates
Hello.
a means of pre-carriage.
Sir, just to disturb you.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, sorry to disturb you.
Yeah.
This is not related to this lesson, but with regard to that assignment, sir, I was not there on that particular day. I think it was with regard to that assignment, sir. Hello. Hello.
With regard to the
assignment, sir. There was an assignment that was uploaded.
Okay.
In the Google Classroom.
Yeah.
Sir, it is to be submitted by 23rd, right?
23rd, yes.
Yeah. So we have to do are we to do a like Word kind of document on that, sir? Or,
you have to do a Word kind of document, and you have to print it and bring it down 23rd. 23rd, we are going to meet you guys at the IB sale. Mankwane?
all right.
Next week, we are going to have a physical class.
Okay, right. Right.
Kuta, thank you very much for reminding me.
Right.
Oh my goodness. What's your name? Your good name.
Malik, sir. Malik.
Malik, thank you so much. I completely forgot. When I told this last week, right? I was
Right.
to start the physical classes from today, but I couldn't finish this one. That's why I said not this week, then week after next. So on week after next is 23rd Saturday. 23rd Saturday, I will ask Menaka to put another message also. Please come to the IBSL. Please come to the IBSL. And that is mainly because of one person, one guy from Sampath Bank. He said he will be coming from Badulla. නේද පුතේ කවුද සම්පත් එකේ එයා ළමයා වෙනුවෙන් කතා කළේ කවුද?
He's in Bandaravilla.
බණ්ඩාරවෙල. ඔයා නේද එයාත් එක්ක එයා වෙනුවෙන් ෆයිට් කළේ?
Yes, yes.
ඔව් හරිද? He's coming from Bandaravilla, and because of the restrictions, he won't be able to come this week. So we postponed the physical classes to 23rd. So 23rd, I want everybody to be there. The first time we are going to meet guys, right? First time we are going to meet guys. I will තමන් කියවනේ මේ ඕනනම් අපේ ගෑන් ළමයින්ට තව මොනවාරි අපිට හපන්න දෙයක්ත් අරගෙන එන්නේ කියලා නේද? Because this is going to be an auspicious class. It's the first time we are going to meet the people, and it is very, very important when it comes to DIT class. You are missing the fun. There are so much of fun in the class, and all the people get together as one family. And after the convocation, oh my God, everybody was telling me, where we are always after the convocations, when you get the certificates, none of the guys will go for snacks and tea. They have their own fun, right? My class එකේ තියෙන ලොකුම දේ එකයි. අනිත් සර්ලත් කියන්නේ එකයි. ඒගොල්ලෝ මාර කට්ටියක් ඉන්නේ මාර family ගන්න කියලා. It's like one family. This time we missed that. So at least the next 2-3 classes, we'll try to build up that rapport. When you come to the class, don't stay alone, right? Mix with the others, speak to them, ask them they are from which bank. The reason is yesterday I got an issue. That was my 2015 class. 2015 class එකේ ළමයි. Right? එක්කෙනෙක් අහනවා සෑනට serious issue එකක්. They are checking with the other colleagues in other banks. So it was a very interesting thing. So they were sharing their opinions. And then on behalf of that girl, another girl called me. So this is a issue for so and so. මට මතකත් නෑ ළමයාව. Right? She was in our class and we discussed. She has checked with another guy. අපි check කරලා බලලා තියෙනවා. Now we want to get your opinion. So I said, what is your joint opinion? So they gave me. I agreed to that. Right? I agreed to that. And this is how we have to do it. especially when you are checking documents, when you come across any issues, you have to communicate with some other knowledgeable guy or in another bank. At least you can see what is their practice. What is their practice, whether they have any previous experience of that particular concern. So for that, you have to know each other. I'm 100% sure by now, nobody knows who is the other end. So from 23rd, please talk to each other. ඒක මම විහිළුවට කිව්වේ මොනවා හරි අරන් එන්න අපි ඒක අර බ්‍රේක් එක වෙලාවේ බෙදාගෙන කනකොට වුණත් අන්න මිස් වෙච්ච දවස් ටික අපිට අල්ලගන්න පුළුවන්. පොඩි මේක විහිළුවට නෙමෙයි කිව්වේ, right? අර මිස් වෙච්ච දවස් ටික අල්ලගෙන මම අතරින් එළියට ආවත් you can have a fun for at least 10 minutes or 15 minutes, right? So you have to build up that rapport. It is very, very important when it comes to international trade and document checking, right? As doc checkers, you have to share your opinion, share your experience, right? Next week we meet. The time is 1 o'clock. Please share this news, spread this news with your other colleagues in your banks, right? Who are not all, who are only registered in this class, right? To come personally in physical, right? But you take your own precautions. Mask and face shield or whatever, right? If you are not having any, I hope everybody has got your vaccination. Is it? Or anybody who has not taken vaccination, right? Take the precautions and come. Anyway, you are going to offices now, so nothing to worry, right? But you can't eliminate the risk like in trade. Only you can do is you can mitigate the risk by taking precautions, right? Come prepared. And always when you are coming, come with a pen and a pencil, please. Pencil and eraser, ඒ දෙන document එකේ ලියලා jot down කරලා මකලා අර මේ කරලා ගන්න ඒවත් ගන්න මොකද ඒවා share කරගන්න යන්න එපා. You bring your own pencil, pen and eraser, right? ඒවා අරගෙන එන්න. එතකොට උගන්ට use කරන්න පුළුවන් තම තමන්ගේ ඒවා without sharing that, right? Okay. Thank you very much, Malik, for reminding me. And that is a good day for you to hand over the your assignment, right? Try to hand over on 23rd or latest. Latest by 30th. Latest by 30th, right? Then I think then we let in 23rd තියෙනවා නම් ඒවා එදාටම දෙන්න. එතකොට මට ලේසි list down කරලා තියාගන්න. Right? Okay. But at the moment I'm having 138 assignments under මේගොල්ලන්ගේ postgraduate. 138 assignments. Right? Okay. Right. Whenever a BL indicates a means of pre-carriage, the BL requires a dated onboard notation indicating the port of loading and vessel. Right? Whenever a BL indicates a means of pre-carriage, the BL requires a dated onboard notation indicating the port of loading and vessel. This applies in all cases such as BL does not indicate a place for receipt. BL does indicate a place of receipt, which is the same as port of loading. There are some typing errors. I'm sorry, මම මේක ඉස්සලගෙත් මට එකක් ආවා. එන්න මේක කවුරුත් මගෙන් ඇහුවේ නැහැ. Nobody question this. මෙන්න මේකේ nobody question this. On-board date, what is that? What is the on-board date? What is the on-board date of this? Guys,
1st September.
1st September. And what is the BL date?
20th September.
When the ban, eh?
Should be same, no?
Yeah, it should be 1st of September. පුළුවන් ද මට කරන්න change කරන්න. First. September. Make it තිබුණා එකක්. Port of loading. You're gonna get the typo errors, right? BL does indicate a place of receipt, which is the same as port of loading. A BL indicates a place of receipt, which is different from port of loading. Right? Then, when the credit indicates, that is, again, E6G. 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 When the credit indicates the loading port by also stating the country in which the port is located, the name of the country need not be stated. Right? When the credit indicates the loading port by also stating the country in which the port is located, for example, Shanghai, China, the name of the country need not be stated. අපි Shanghai, China කියලා ගෙවුවට අපිට ඒක ඕනේ නැහැ. Port of loading Shanghai. That is enough. E6. E6G. E6G, I'm reading. When a credit indicates a geographical area or range of ports of loading, for example, any European port, or Hamburg, Rotterdam, Antwerp port, a bill of lading is to indicate the actual port of loading, which is to be within that geographical area or range of ports. A bill of lading need not indicate the geographical area. Right? Any European port කියලා geographical area එක අපිට ඕන වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Or Hamburg, Rotterdam, Antwerp port. Then F, 6F, A bill of lading is to indicate the port of loading stated in the credit. When a credit indicates the port of loading by also stating the country in which the port is located, the name of the country need not be stated. Need not be stated. Right? Okay. Terms such as shipped in apparent order have the same effect as the word shipped on board. Sometimes the shipped on board is not there. Instead of that, they will mention shipped in apparent order. So that is also acceptable. When credits state a geographical area or range of loading ports, for example, any European port, a BL is to indicate the actual port within the stated area or range. Right? That's what I have mentioned. Any European port, then it can be Antwerp, Hamburg, right? Like that. Rotterdam, Hamburg, Rotterdam, Antwerp port. ඒක දාලා Antwerp කියලා දාලා අයි කියන්න ඕනේ a European port කියලා. You don't have to mention that, right? An alteration or correction of BL may be authenticated by any agent, even if different from the one that issued the BL, provided the letter is identified as agent for the carrier or master. See this one? Freight payable. Earlier they have typed as freight payable. Then they have changed it to freight prepaid. This has been signed by whom? BL has been signed by DMX as agent for fast lane, the carrier. Right? Then this correction, they have put the correction stamp. This correction was approved by CSUN. CSUN as agent for the carrier. As agent for the carrier. Okay? This is acceptable. හැබැයි මේක කියන්න ඕන සීසන් කියලා ගෙවුවනම් අපි accept කරන්නේ නැහැ. They have to say the capacity as agent for the carrier. There may be so many agents for the carrier. Carrier is fast lane. Carrier fast lane. One agent is DMX. One agent is CSUN. Right? Release of goods more than 1 BL. Release of goods with more than 1 BL to be surrendered is not complying unless all of the reference BL form part of the same presentation under the same credit. Release of goods with more than 1 BL to be goods with more than 1 BL to be surrendered is not complying unless all of the reference BL from form part of the same presentation under the same grade. Right. If they're on it there. But they give up the part there and then there I said they were here we have issued the bill of lading in more than 1 originals. Right? And there's a clause in the BL, containers can only be released to a single merchant upon merchant's presentation of all bill of lading. Merchants, again, merchants, all right, merchants presentation of all bills of lading. So they have to present all the copies. Otherwise, how many copies? How many originals you have to submit to get the goods cleared? If the BL has been issued in 3 copies, 3 originals, all 3 originals have been received by the customer, how many copies he has to submit to get the goods release? How many copies? I'm sorry, how many originals? One. How many originals? One. One original is more than enough. But if there's a condition to say containers can only be released to a single merchant upon merchant's presentation of all bills of lading, all original bills of lading, then you have to submit all bills of lading. Right? Okay. Transshipment. The transshipment is upset when a BL does not indicate unloading and reloading between the 2 ports required in the LC, this does not constitute a transshipment. When a BL does not indicate unloading and reloading between the 2 ports, that is from port go to Bridgeport, right? Unloading and reloading of goods from one vessel to another during the course of ocean carriage from the port of loading, port go, to the port of discharge, Bridgeport, stipulated in the LC, right? So a transshipment means unloading from one vessel and reload to another vessel. Unloading from one vessel and reload to another vessel. If there's no unloading and reloading between the 2 ports, then that won't take it as a transshipment, right? Transshipment again, is 17. Is 17. Is 17 and 18. Is 17. Transshipment, partial shipment, and determining the presentation period when multiple sets of bill of ladings are presented. Is 17. Transshipment is the unloading and reloading of goods from one vessel to another during the carriage of those goods from the port of loading to the port of discharge stated in the credit. Right? When a bill of lading does not indicate, unloading and reloading between these 2 ports, it is not transshipment in the context of the credit and the UCP 600 subarticle 20B and C. Let's see what is that. UCP 600 subarticle 20B and C. I'm reading from UCP 600 article 20, subarticle B. For the purpose of this article, transshipment means unloading from one vessel and reloading to another vessel during the carriage from the port of loading to the port of discharge stated in the credit. So UCP 600 and ISBP 745 is both identical, right? Okay. Right. And then again, I continue the UCP 600. I'll read it. Subarticle C, 20C. A bill of lading may indicate that the goods will or may be transshipped, provided that the entire carriage is covered by one and the same bill of lading. Right? A bill of lading indicating that transshipment will or may take place is acceptable, even if the credit prohibits transshipment. If the goods have been shipped in a container, trailer, or lash barge, as evident by the bill of lading. The maker, if the goods have been shipped in a container or trailer or lash barge, right? Eva transshipment, yes or no, not transshipment may take place, right? So we don't quote it as discrepancy. Clauses in a bill of lading stating that the carrier reserves the right to transship will be disregarded. Right? Okay. Then Article 18, it says shipment on more than one vessel is a partial shipment. Shipment on more than one vessel is a partial shipment, even if such vessel leaves on the same day for the same destination. Same day for the same destination. Right? If the goods are shipped in two different vessels, even though the both vessels leaves on the same day, we treat it as a partial shipment because two BLs in two vessels, right? Okay. The coverage, insurance documents, and the coverage. Yeah. Right. Insurance, documents and coverage. Application of UCP 600, Article 28. It is highlighted in ISBP para K1. It says a requirement in a credit for the presentation of an insurance document, such as an insurance policy, insurance certificate, or declaration under an open cover, means that UCP 600 Article 28 is to be applied in the examination of the document. right? මේගොල්ලෝ කෙලින්ම කියනවා UCP 600 article 28 එක විදිහට පුළුවන් තරම් check කරලා ගන්න කියලා. Right? Then the insurance document is to appear to have been issued and signed by an insurance document is to appear to have been issued and signed by an insurance company or its agent or proxy. That's very clearly says in the article 28. The mega P may revision UCP 600 Underwriter or its agent need not indicate that it is an insurance company or underwriter. Right? When an issuer is identified as when an issuer is identified as insurer, when an issuer is identified as an insurer. The document need not indicate that an insurance company or underwriter. Right? This is K2. K2 එක ඉන්නේ issuer signing an original of an insurance document. Just read article para K2. Right? Issuance. If as requested by the credit, or evident from the insurance document that it is issued in more than one original, all originals are to be presented. K8. And it is there in the UCP 600 also. I can remember. Can somebody give me the sub-article? UCP 600, Article 28B. Article 28B. Right? And here, K8. When a credit requires an insurance document to be issued in more than one original, and when the insurance document indicates that it has been issued in more than one original, all originals are to be presented and are to appear to have been signed. Right? These are discrepancies when you are checking documents. Right? So be careful. ඔයාලට document checking specimens දෙනකොට මම මේක දෙනවා මේ වගේ ඒවා ඔයාලා identify කරගන්න. Dates. K9 is the insurance document take a dates ගැන. is not to indicate an expiry date for the presentation of any claims thereunder. In the absence of an issuance date or effective date of insurance. A counter signature will be deemed to be evidence of insurance coverage. You make a K9 read K9. K9 dates. An insurance document is not to indicate an expiry date for the presentation of any claims thereunder. Then the K11, in the absence of any other date stated, stated to be the issuance date or effective date of insurance coverage, a counter signature date will be deemed to be evidence of the effective date of the insurance coverage. Why I was a little bit awkward was I felt something wrong here. I got it. According to the article K11, it should be a counter signature will be deemed counter signature date. Counter signature date. To picture Raghunatha typing. Counter signature date will be deemed to be evidence of insurance coverage. Right? Okay. Right. Bill of lading evidencing shipment on 21st September 2013. Right? Bill of lading evidence in the shipment on 21st September. This has been issued on 22nd September. So can we take it as okay? Can we accept this, or is it a discrepant document or compliant document?
Discrepant, right? Discrepant, right?
No. This is a compliant document. Why? Can somebody tell me why? Mega discrepant
The sailing is on 30th. Sorry. No. I don't know, sir. I don't know.
You don't know.
Cover effects from 21st.
Cover is effect from 21st September. So the bill of lading, as per the bill of lading, shipment date on 21st September. Even though this has been issued on 22nd September, the cover is effect from 21st September. Then it's okay, no? Then this covered. Otherwise, it will be a discrepant. Otherwise, it will be a discrepant. Arakala tibun nattang. Cover is effect from 21st September. It will be a discrepant document. Now, this is perfect. Right? Like a doc checks only. Amount, risk coverage, endorsement, and other issues. Right? Make a right. Okay. Amount, risk coverage, endorsement, and the other issues. To be issued in the currency of the credit for the minimum stated in UCP 600. What is, can somebody tell me the UCP 600 relevant article and sub-article? What is the UCP 600 relevant article?
28F2.
20?
8F2.
28F2. 28F2. And there is no maximum percentage of insurance coverage. Minimum 110%.
1%.
Right? Maximum, there's no limit. But can we cover for 150% or 200%?
Yes.
No. No. No insurance company will cover for more than 110%. And if it is 120% or 130%, then that will be for, you have to give a evidence why you need 140% coverage again and again. Transferable LCs from the second beneficiary has to take insurance cover of 140% to match the first one, right? Basically, insurance company will reject that. Then you have to speak to them and you have to explain, give the documentary evidence. Yeah, you are doing the shipment on a transferable LC. You are the second beneficiary, and that is why, as per the UCP 600, Article 38G, you have to enhance the insurance value. Otherwise, a normal one, if you put 115 or 120, they will allow. But if you put 140 or 150, they will not allow. That shows you are trying a fast one. You will try to insure it for 150% over insurance, and then deliberately try to damage the goods deliberately and take 150% of the value. It is much cheaper than getting the profit. So therefore, insurance companies are now not allowing anybody who wants to do it, then they'll have to get the prior approval. Insurance, put it at a bear, it has to go to AGM level. Amount, risk coverage, endorsement, and other issues, right? When it is apparent from the credit or from the presentation that the amount demanded only represent a certain part of the gross value of the goods, the calculation of insurance cover is to be based on the full gross value of the goods. Right? The calculation of insurance cover is to be based on the full gross value of the goods. For example, apparent from the LC represents 75% of goods value, as 25% is payable outside the LC. Right? The LC represents 75% of the goods value, as 25% is payable outside the LC. උතර අපි කිය දෙන්න ඕනේ. අපි කීයටද මේක මේව කරන්නේ? Is it for 75% or 100%? Insurance cover is to be based on 75% or 100%.
%, sir.
Yeah, 100% of the goods value we have to cover. Right? A second example, apparent from the invoice, amount of this invoice is 75%. US dollars 75,000. Goods value US dollars 10,000, 100,000 less advance payment. My goodness, මම නෙමේ මේ ගෝලයට ටිකුව මේක හදලා දෙන්නේ කියලා. හදපු විදිය තමයි. මගෙත් වැරද්ද. මගේ වැරද්ද කියන්නේ මට මේක අහුවෙලා නෑනේ. දැන් අහුවෙනවා. එවිලට අහුවෙන්නේ නෑ. Right. So yeah, goods value, the total value එකට අපි ගන්න යනවා 100,000. Right? Okay. Amount, risk coverage, endorsement and other issues. Right? An insurance document is to cover the risk required by the credit. Still, the document may refer to exclusion clauses. That's also as per the UCP 600. The subject to matter insured 2,000 briefcases, all risk. Right? All risk it is covered. But you can have exclusions. Exclusions, nuclear war, terrorist act, claims, if any, payable at cloud. Nuclear war and terrorist act. They exclude all risks are covered. It's perfectly all right. Right? When a credit requires all risk coverage, this is satisfied by the presentation of an insurance document evidencing any all risk clause or notation, even if stating exclusions, or an insurance document indicating that it covers Institute Cargo Clause A. Institute Cargo Clauses, yeah, as the case may be. Right? Right. General terms and conditions. Banks do not examine general terms and conditions in an insurance document. In an insurance document, when you get an insurance document, on the reverse, you get general terms and conditions. Either on reverse or the first 2 pages. In small letters, it runs to 2-3 pages, general terms and conditions. We do not examine the general terms and conditions mentioned in the insurance document. Premium. An indication on an insurance document regarding payment of an insurance premium is to be disregarded unless the insurance document indicates that it is not valid unless the premium has been paid and there is an indication that the premium has not been paid. Right? එයාරෙන්න අපි මේ වගේ ඒවා disregard කරනවා. Unless the insurance document indicates that it is not valid කියලා තියෙනවා නම්. Unless the premium has been paid and there is an indication that the premium has not been paid, then it will be a discrepancy. Certificate of origin. Right? Certificate of origin requires a signature. Why? Why we need a signature? For certificate of origin? Why this? Why we need a signature? It's a very simple question. Shanika? Malik?
It should be authorized, right, sir?
මේ බොහොම සරලව answer කරන්න. Why it has to be signed? Why the signature is a must?
Certificate.
Huh? What is that? Sorry, I didn't get the answer. Why you need to have a signature on a certificate of origin?
Since it's a certificate.
Since it's a certificate. අයියෝ එච්චරයි උත්තරේ. අපි මලත් එච්චර තමයි නේ මම එදත් කිව්වනේ. ඩෙත් සර්ටිෆිකේට් එක සයින් කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. නැත්නම් මලයි කියලා බාර ගන්නේ නැහැ. මැරෙලා නැහැ. Right? Since it's a certificate. Right? Okay. Appears to relate to the invoiced goods. Everything should be compatible. Huh? Invoice එකේ goods උති මේකේ certificate of origin එකේ goods it has to be same, right? Certificate certifies their origin. Goods are of Malaysian origin, right? Okay, goods මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Kitchenware 500 cartons, invoice number 1440, invoice number 1440 එකේ cross reference එක නම් බලන්න ඕන. Then to be issued by the entity stated in the credit. Any issuer if no issue is specified. Right? Issued by කවුද කියලා තියෙන්න ඕන. To be issued by the entity stated in the credit. Any issuer if no issue is specified. ISBP, unlike this, its predecessor, does not require the certificate to be dated. Certificate to be dated. අපි ඔක කිව්වා. Right? Then, when a credit requires the presentation of a certificate of origin, right? When a credit requires a certificate of origin, issued by the beneficiary, the exporter or the manufacturer, this condition will also be satisfied by the presentation of a certificate of origin issued by the Chamber of Commerce or like, provided it indicates the beneficiary, the exporter or the manufacturer as the case may be. Right? දැන් මෙතෙන්දී කියලා තියෙනවා when a credit requires the presentation of certificate of origin issued by the beneficiary, the exporter or the manufacturer. This condition will also be satisfied by the presentation of certificate of origin issued by a Chamber of Commerce. If the certificate of origin has been issued by the certificate of Chamber of Commerce, right? This will issued by Chamber of Commerce. That requirement will be satisfied. Actually, it is much better than the issuing by the own beneficiary. They can bluff anything, right? Even the exporter can bluff, even the manufacturer can bluff, but Chamber of Commerce will not bluff, right? මේකින්ද ඒගොල්ලන්ට පුළුවන් කරන්න. When a credit requires the presentation of a certificate of origin issued by a Chamber of Commerce, this condition will also be satisfied by the presentation of a certificate of origin issued by a Chamber of Industry, Association of Industry, Economic Chamber, Customs Authorities, and Department of Trade or the like. Because if the LC says presentation of a certificate of origin issued by the Chamber of Commerce, but this condition will also be satisfied by the presentation of a certificate of origin issued by Chamber of Industry, Association of Industry, they can come on, but not by the beneficiary or manufacturer. Right? Okay. So this has been issued by Department of Trade. When a credit requires a presentation of a specific form of certificate of origin, such as a GSP Form A, only a document in that specific form is to be presented. If the credit requires the presentation of a certificate of origin of GSP Form A, then that certificate of origin has to be issued on a GSP Form A. Just see the example given on the right hand side, right? Certificate of origin on Form A. In this format, no way. It has to be on the same format, right? Consignee information, when shown, is not to conflict with the consignee information in the transport document. Right? Consignees should be compatible with the transport document also. Right? However, when a credit requires a transport document to be issued to order or to the order of shipper or to order of issuing bank, to order of nominated bank or negotiation bank or consigned to issuing bank, a certificate of origin may show the consignee as any entity named in the credit except the beneficiary. You are clear on that? When a credit requires a transport document to be issued to order to the order of the shipper, to order of issuing bank, or a certificate of origin may show the consignee as any entity. It's okay, except for beneficiary. When a credit has been transferred, the first beneficiary may be stated to be the consignee. The first beneficiary may be stated to be the consignee. First beneficiary තමයි consignee එන්නේ. Then only they will endorse it and send the transport document to the issuer. Right? Okay. A certificate of origin may indicate as a consignor or exporter an entity other than the beneficiary of the credit or the shipper as shown on any other stipulated document. Now, when you are talking about this, unlike other areas, ISBP 745, they are talking a lot of things on certificate of origin. No? Can you give me one reason why? Why? Why they are elaborate on this certificate of origin? This is good. This is a very good proactive move by the ISBP. Why? Because the UCP, what is the article on certificate of origin? Lamai, yanda. In UCP, what is the article on certificate of origin? Where is the article? Or is there an article or no? You may have gone through the UCP 600 enough times or not by now. Exam එකට මාසය තියෙන්නේ. එතකොට are there any articles on certificate of origin? Students, why you are silent? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
මම negative නැහැලුවේ මාව කට් වෙලා කියලා. So what is the why ISBP is talking about certificate of origin? Because UCP is not talking about that. Are there any articles? No. Nothing. So this is one way it is good. Well, we haven't learned certificate of origin when we were discussing the UCP 600. But we learned about the invoices, we learned about BLs, we learned about airway bills, right? Insurance certificates, insurance policies, drafts. ඒ ඔක්කොම කතා කළා. මේක නෑ. මේක නෑ තිබුණේ. ඒකෙන්ද තමයි මේ ගොඩක් මේගොල්ලෝ elaborate කළා තියෙන්නේ. Right? A certificate of origin may indicate a different invoice number, invoice date, and shipment routing to that indicated on one or more other stipulated documents, provided the exporter or consignor shown on the certificate of origin is not the beneficiary. Right? Packing list, wait list, analysis, inspection and other certificates, beneficiary certificates. The final part. Right? At last. packing list. Packing list is titled as called for in the credit or bearing a similar title or untitled that fulfills its function by containing any information as to the packing of the goods. Any information as to the packing of the goods. The wait list also very much similar, right? When a credit indicates specific packing requirements without stipulating the documents to indicate compliance with these requirements, any date regarding the packing of the goods mentioned on the packing list is presented, if presented, are not to conflict with those requirements. The same thing will apply for the wait list also. Beneficiary certificate. Beneficiary certificate. Right? Needs to be signed by or for the beneficiary. Title as called for, bear a similar title or untitled. If you say, normally we put a title, a beneficiary certificate, and then he will certify. Right? Now, packing list, is it necessary for the signature? Packing list and the wait list? If the signature is necessary, if the signature is missing, can we quote it as a discrepancy? If the signature is missing, can we quote it as a discrepancy? Answer.
Yes.
Yes. Packing list? No. Signature is not required. Just it is similar to invoice. In an invoice, signature is not required unless the LC says sign invoice, sign packing list. Otherwise, no. But if it is a certified packing list or certified wait list, is a signature required?
Yes.
Then yes. Then yes. If the LC asks for certified packing list or certified wait list, and if you have submitted certified packing list without the signature, then it's a discrepancy. Okay? Right. Beneficiary certificate needs to be signed by or for the beneficiary. Well, it's a certificate. Since it's a certificate, right? Then date not to conflict with the credit or stipulated documents and need not be identical to that required in the credit. However, to fulfill the functions and need not include goods description. Right? Okay. Analysis, inspection, health certificate, phytosanitary certificate, quantity, quality, and other certificates. All those certificates has to be signed, need to be signed, because all those are certificates. And this is certificate, certificate, health certificate, phytosanitary certificate, quantity, and quality, and other certificates, everything. Right? Title as called for, bear a similar title or to be untitled. Date not to conflict with the credit or stipulated documents. Date not to conflict with the credit or stipulated documents, and need not be identical to that required in the credit. And need not be identical to that required in the credit. However, to fulfill the functions by certifying the outcome of the required action, for example, results of analysis. Right? Phytosanitary means fit for human consumption. Sample required goods have been tested. Right? All these certificates and this inspection, health, phytosanitary, quantity, especially those inspection certificates, may indicate that only a sample of the required goods have been tested. Right? May indicate a quantity that is greater than that stated in the credit or any other stipulated documents. Now, for example, if the credit says 10% of the goods to be inspected, 10% of the quantity of the goods to be tested for quality, then they have to mention that tested 10% of the goods for quality. Right? May indicate more hold. May indicate move hold, compartment or tank numbers. Okay. May indicate move hold. Hold can be hold compartment or tank numbers than that stated bill of lading or charter bill of lading. Right? Okay. The bill of lading is then analysis and inspection certificates. When a credit is silent as to the specific content to appear on a certificate, when a credit is silent as to the specific content to appear on a certificate, including but not limited to any required standard for determining the results of the analysis, inspection or quality assessments, the certificate may included statements such as not fit for human consumption, chemical composition may not meet required needs, or words of similar effect. Words. Okay, well, the typing. ඔයගලන්ට අහුවෙනවද දැන්න මටමයි අහුවෙන්නේ. Of similar effects. Provided such statements do not conflict with the credit, any other stipulated documents of UCP 600. Right? So, I think we have gone through in detail, not in nutshell, we have gone through in detail, and we have covered entire ISBP 745. Right? Only thing we have not gone para by para, but I have given you, because I told you it's a very boring exercise to read it, but it is worth reading, especially if you are a doc checker. Go through the transport documents, then insurance documents, these certificates and all those things, right? And at least as a doc checker, at least once you should have gone through the ISBP. But the way I have presented to you was very much easier rather than going through this rigmarole, very straightforward and user-friendly, right? Anyway, I hope I never think that you will enjoying of studying such a boring area, but what to do? If you want to be a good job document checker, you have to have some idea, good idea about ISBP, right? Issues in a bit of fight karanda ISBP, but only thing you can't vote, right? Consign information similar to that of the certificate of origin. All right, okay. Now we have covered almost everything, right? There were certain questions, comments we discussed, right? We discussed about the background to ISBP and then general principles, insurance documents, transport documents, invoices, other documents, and everything, right? So, all in all, before we go for the practical document checking section, exercises, we have covered UCP as well as ISBP, right? Okay. Any questions before we wind up the session? Any questions? Hmm? Right. Then next week, 1 o'clock, we'll meet at IBSL. I will ask Menaka to put a notice downstairs regarding which lecture hall we are going to occupy, right? And as I told you, wear your mask, take maximum precaution, right? And keep the 1 meter distance always. Keep the 1 meter distance. And the other thing, bring your own pens and pencils and erasers and all, so that you don't have to share with any other people, right? Okay. Any questions? Any questions? Nothing. Then I'll call it a day. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. See you next week.